digital footprints. We all have them, so be advised. Your digital footprint is a collection of data that exists as a result of your actions and communications online that can be traced back to you. There are two kinds of traceable data: active and passive. Active means your phone calls, your emails, and yes, all your social media activities. Passive refers to your search history, your website visits, and your actions on those sites. Digital footprints are pretty permanent, and we have very little control over how it might be used by others, like bosses, college admissions, stalkers, or cyber criminals. The internet is forever.
I know you've heard of a digital footprint. I know you've heard of SEO, but do you actually know how to utilize how you show up online? Because this matters when it comes to dating, when it comes to job searching, and when it comes to having your own business and getting yourself out there. So this is really important for everybody, and I'm gonna try to make it a bit fun when I explain this, obviously feminize it a little bit, but I wanted to make this for my Patreon girlies as a follow-up to my high-paying, low-stress feminine careers part 2 video, just so you can be more well-rounded in this topic. So I'm gonna get right into it, starting with SEO. And I know you've heard that before, but it's just so important for your overall image as you get older and as you advance in your career. Even when you date or when you have your own business, you have to realize people are going to Google your name after they meet you, or they're going to Google your business when they are looking through specific services, or if they see that you offer something, they're going to Google you to see how legit you are. And it's basically just one way to trace your digital footprint. They're going to do a Google search. They're going to look into your Facebook to see what you've posted, especially nowadays with so many scams happening and so many people pretending to be what they are really not. So Google your first and your last name and look at what comes up, or Google your business entity and look at what comes up, especially if you have like a complex or a very standout name like I do personally. Most of everything that you've done or posted on the internet will show up on the Google search page. So now what if I told you you can control what pops up when you type your own name in on Google, especially if you want to highlight something specific like your profession, or if you want to remove something that shows up. And the best thing is to start now rather than later, because it does take time for Google to translate that SEO that is connected to your name. Even when it comes to your business, if you're an entrepreneur, if your business is not the first thing that pops up when you type it in, you need to optimize your keywords and your SEO. And it's really so much easier than you think. So you can go ahead and research SEO and what it entails, but I'm just going to show you the best way to do it instead of explaining what it is to you. So Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram Threads, a personal business website, a YouTube channel, especially Pinterest and TikTok are all kind of essential and easy to read when you're getting into SEO. So you don't need every single platform on the list, but you do need at least 5 to optimize the search engine to your favor. Now, here's how you link them all together so that Google can pick up who you are and what you do, so that you can be the first person or business that pops up when someone searches your name. Now, if you don't want to show up at all, you would have to make all of your accounts private, possibly change your first and last name on some websites and usernames, and you can try to hide as much as you can, but that's if you don't want to show up on the Google search page. But what you want to do is tie in your name or the name of your business and use the same keywords in all of your descriptions, and especially the alternative text on any post that you make, especially on Instagram, if it is available in the advanced settings of the post. And I'll show you an example of what I mean now. So if you're Jane Doe and you have a fashion business, you would want to type Jane Doe Neutral Fashion Designs in the alternative text and say something like, "Hey, Jane Doe here. These are my latest neutral fashion style designs. #fashion, #neutrals, #fall styles" in the caption. Now, let's say you post this on Facebook, you post it on LinkedIn and on your website. And then let's say you make a TikTok and a Pinterest post with the same exact caption and the same exact keywords. It may take about 3 weeks, but if you stay consistent with posting and you use the same keywords and other related keywords over and over again, Google will pick this up. So when someone goes to type your name in Google, Jane Doe neutral fashion designs will most likely be the first thing to come up. So if you stay consistent, you make a website and you get featured on blogs and other official websites, even if you get mentioned by a verified source on any social media platform, Google will even recognize you as a fashion designer. So when someone Googles your name, it will come up Jane Doe fashion designer. So for me, when you Google my personal name, it comes up as my name, author, because I wrote a book. And so my book is linked to my website. My book is linked on Amazon, and it all has my name attached to it. But I also have graphic design work and other things in the images section of Google as well, all directly tied to me. So if somebody were to Google my first and last name, they would basically find everything about my professional life. So I also do want to talk about LinkedIn, because if you don't have one yet, you need to make one. And if you don't use it, you need to use it. When you get up and you go to these seminars like you're supposed to, and these meetings, and you show up in person, like I talk about, as the career-driven person you want to be, exchanging LinkedIn profiles are going to be huge for you. Plus, this is how other business people and competitors size you up professionally. You can even be in corporate and start posting high quality photos and posts every day so that you can be seen by your higher ups. And they will notice you if you post on LinkedIn and you use their keywords and their hashtags and the name of their business. And the more you post, the more engagement you get. It's almost like showing up online instead of showing up in person. And this is going to allow you to be a familiar face in whatever corporate sector you're in. If you set up informal meetings with your coworkers and you encourage social interaction, especially online, you give an air of profession through and through, and this will open up a lot of doors for you. You need a LinkedIn right away, and you need to start professionally posting at least once a week, especially if you're looking to move up or even change career paths in corporation. Even if you're an entrepreneur, you need to talk about your business on LinkedIn and get connected with the people in your industry locally and globally. You want to start seeing opportunities. You need to document yourself on LinkedIn so that you look legit. And when these people Google you, you look even more legit because you've optimized that SEO. This is also why it's important to go ahead and book a photographer to do your updated professional headshots so that you can look even more professional. It's all a no-brainer, really, but these types of things are heavily overlooked, and they shouldn't be, at least not in 2024. Like, it's competitive out here. You're not just competing when it comes to resumes, you're competing when it comes to an overall image online and a digital footprint. I'm going to tell you a funny story about SEO for me specifically. So I used to be heavily on Tumblr back in like 2015, 2016 when I was younger and I was doing photography. I actually did one photo shoot with two of my friends, and it's so funny how art can be translated by different people. But the two friends were the subjects of the photo, and basically the overall image was supposed to represent enlightenment and femininity. And when I went to go post it on my Tumblr, it did very well. I think I got about like 5,000 notes, and it was shared on different Tumblr accounts. However, the photo was a bit scantily clad, if you want to say that. Like, they weren't wearing much clothing, but for me, it was more artistic than it was sexual. But people with sex forward and sex positive blogs actually took the photo and added their own hashtags to it. So in the caption was my name, because it was like photography by my name. And then when they went to go reblog it or share it, they would add hashtags like hashtag sex or hashtag lesbian porn. I'm saying porn because it's Patreon and I don't have to say corn. But it's so crazy because when I first discovered the whole SEO thing, like what I told you about, I went to Google my name. And one of the first things that popped up on the first page was my name, lesbian porn. I was like, oh my gosh, like how many people have Googled me, or how many companies that I've applied to have Googled me, or, and associated my photography that I did 5 years ago and thought that I produced porn content. Like, it's crazy how SEO really works. So what I had to do was, because it's actually very hard to get things, especially if you're not in control of it, like if you can't log into an old Facebook account, or in my case where it was someone else who reposted my content and then added their own hashtags. What I did was I messaged Google and I basically told them that, like, oh, I made this when we were underage. We weren't underage, by the way, but I just lied and I said we were underage. This needs to be taken down. And then I messaged Tumblr the same exact thing. And so it did take them a while to respond and then actually take it down so it does not show up when you Google my name anymore. But you got to keep that in mind because this was like 4-5 years ago. And the image continued to circulate, and it probably still has my name underneath there. Or, if Tumblr took it down, then it's not there anymore. But the only thing I'm worried about is the fact that it doesn't show up on Google, because that's not really a good look for if I'm trying to join a company later. Because you have to think, when companies want to partner with other companies, or when they're trying to get grants and funding, you have to realize that the company gets analyzed. And so they are looking at the company's employees and the top employees and Googling each one of them to kind of do a background check on their record before a company can get funding, or before a company can get support or merge with another company. So imagine being the reason why a company doesn't get funding, because once they did a deep dive on who actually works in that company and the type of values they hold and what their digital footprint and online presence looks like, imagine being the reason. So I do find that it's best to be open and public about your social media, which may make you have to kind of watch the content that you post, even just on Instagram, because it can really be easily picked up by SEO. So if your caption is a Cardi B lyric talking about WAP, it could literally be the first thing that comes up when someone searches your name, especially if your Instagram is public, and especially if that post got a lot of likes or engagement. But you don't have to be super corporate. You can do what you want, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you have your own business and you don't plan to work for anyone else. But you want to make sure that you can stand 10 toes behind whatever image that you present online. But overall, this is a great way to show people you network with that you are legit and you are serious about your overall image and your lifestyle in general. So if you're this deep into the video, I want you to go into the collections tab on Patreon and click the social media tips post that I made. It actually talks about how you can generate a QR code to your website or to your LinkedIn, and you can make it really cute and design it specifically how you want it, and then make it your phone screensaver so that anyone can scan it and go straight to your website or your LinkedIn. And this is what I do for dating. Like, if a guy asks for my number, I tell him that I don't give my number out to strangers, but he can scan my QR code on my phone to go to my website if he wants to contact me. And I think it's just so classy, and I don't have to share my Instagram with him. It goes straight to my LinkedIn or straight to my website, and it's all professional from there. But next, I want to talk about your resume. And I spoke about this on the Discord. You have to make sure that your resume is ATS friendly. And ATS is a computer software program that simplifies and speeds up the hiring process. So over 97% of Fortune 500 companies use ATS, while 66% of large companies and 35% of small organizations rely on them as well. So there are certain things about your resume that ATS can't read, but you want it to be ATS friendly, because if it can't read your resume, it's not going to send it to the person who's actually going to go over it. It's basically like a huge filter. So it can't read things like alignment. So it can't read left aligned columns or text that is not aligned normally. It can't read graphics, images, charts, and tables. You should never have like the percentage of what you're good at. Like if you are good at Excel sheets, you shouldn't put like 90% or like the level of what you're good at. Just put that you know how to do it, hard skills and soft skills. But it can't analyze images, graphics, charts, or tables. So you should not have that in your resume. Text boxes and tables, like most ATSs have trouble parsing information in specific design elements. Headers and footers, it cannot read any content in the header or the footer if you put those there. And then any fancy designs, ATS can't read resume designs. So that includes fancy designs, symbols, or any creative fonts. So if you would like an example of like a perfect resume that is ATS friendly, DM me and I'll send it to you personally. I just don't want to put it in this video. So this could definitely be one reason why your resume just gets thrown out and not even looked at. Like you may be confused as to why you've applied to 10,000 jobs and no one has called you back, and this is why, because it goes straight to the ATS generator and then it spits it out if it can't read your resume. So just remember that your resume is most likely going to a robot before it goes to the real person. And I'm just going to stop here because this doesn't need to be a super long video, but I hope you did learn something new. This is just a follow-up to the careers video. I'm going to be talking about stocks and investing very soon here and really getting into how I research what stocks to invest in, like a man in finance, trust fund, 6'5", blue eyes, because we're smart and we love passive income. And if there's anything that you want me to talk about specifically when it comes to these things, just let me know. And I am going to be getting into makeup and beauty too, don't worry. I just want y'all to get some more money, and I don't want you guys to be spending more money and over consuming more than you have money coming in. And you know, your situation might be perfect and you know all of these things already, but I just really want to make sure that we're all on the same page because we're in this together. So thank you for watching and joining the Patreon. I'll talk to y'all soon. Thank you so much. Bye.
An SEO tip that no one talks about is to be very strategic with the words you're using when you're responding to your comments. This is something that I do all the time and you probably don't even realize it. Instagram and TikTok's algorithm is very sophisticated and it's tracking all of the words that you're using in your comment section. For TikTok, you can actually see that the algorithm detects certain words you're using in your comment section and it will show you that on the back end. Instagram does the same exact thing, you just can't see it. So next time you're replying to your comments, which you should be replying to every single comment, try to use even more keywords so that the algorithm can continue to recognize what you're talking about and push you out to the right people. Let me know if you want me to elaborate on the specific keywords you should be using.